Yeah, let's talk about liberals and the way that they are regarding these differently abled facilities.
This is not kids being kept in cages. This is kids. This is a facility that was opened that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities. This is not kids being kept in cages. This is kids. This is a facility that was opened that's going to follow the same standards as other HHS facilities.
No, they're going to be nicer cages. Like, you guys are so fucking lame. I don't get it. Under the U.S. law, CBP is required to transfer most unaccompanied children to the refugee office within 3 days of taking them into custody. On Friday, roughly 750 unaccompanied children were in CBP custody awaiting placement in facilities overseen by the refugee office. According to data obtained by CBS News, at least 179 migrant children spent more than 3 days in CBP facilities in January, despite internal policy dictating that all migrants, especially minors, should be released within 72 hours. More than 5 of them were held for over 10 days. In December, at least 48 minors remain in CBP custody longer than 3 days. We can disagree and still be friends means liking a different kind of ice cream, not if it's okay or not to put kids in cages. First of all, they're called immigration overflow facilities, and I really don't have time for this. I'm going clubbing tonight, and I need to hit the tanning booth. Listen. You fool, you simpleton. You do not understand that cages are very different than overflow facilities. Donald Trump's inhumane, fear-based immigration policies are a stain on our nation. This is what he said in February 15th last year. We have to get him out of the White House and ensure our laws reflect our values as a nation of immigrants. Cecilia Munoz, who defended family separations under Obama, joins Biden's transition team. We talked about that back in the day. Biden committed to stopping deportations, but 26,248 immigrants have been deported under his watch. Over 1,000 were black immigrants from Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Cameroon. This was happening, this is happening this week. And the first migrant facility for children opened under Biden. And also remember, Joseph Robinette Biden wanted to stop the usage of private prisons in federal, under the federal jurisdiction. He signed an executive action. And what did I tell you? When that happened, there was a carve out specifically for Department of Homeland Security, which is where the where the government uses private detention centers most frequently. You understand? So that's precisely why I said, well, this executive order is kind of bullshit because it does not remove the usage of private prisons in ICE detention centers, which is where most of that happens anyway. Moronic neoliberal takes. All of the authoritarian fascists who work for ICE DHS have immediately turned to compassionate and reasonable people now that the bad man is no longer president. Yeah. Is there any nuance with the situation? Is there any humane locations that unaccompanied minors could be housed? They should not be touching any part of the fucking immigration process, in my opinion. Like, unaccompanied minors should not be touching any part of the detention facilities or any part of those fucking processes at all. That is the most nuanced way that I can argue for this. Okay? This bad faith take without addressing the court blocking the Biden executive order. They're not cages, bro. It's obvious that they look more like dog houses. What? I'm uninformed about immigration and trying to ask in good faith. The simple problem is that we're keeping unaccompanied kid in facilities instead of providing them with direct help and assistance. Yes. Out on the street then? Yes, you're right. The federal government has no way of putting kids in civilian in the company of civilians. You're right. Where would we do that? How would we ever process unaccompanied minors without literally treating them like criminals? How could that ever happen? Yeah, there is no fucking way to do that without literally traumatizing them by locking them up in fucking cages. You're right.
They're willing to critically think and do the right thing. Much love, brother.
How the fuck are liberals who argued against Donald Trump making these arguments now? Like, I thought you guys hated this shit. You're making the exact same arguments that fucking Trump supporters made with like maybe a little less words. Like you're not adding the extra spice on top of it. Like, well, those unaccompanied minors want to fucking kill my daughter and have sex with her. You know, like that's the only thing that you're not adding to it. But you're still defending the same shit. So what's up? Like, were Republicans correct in saying that you just didn't like it when you just didn't like it because the orange man was doing it? So now that the other old white guy is doing it, he's doing it in a better way. But they aren't cages. What's the problem?
Looking kind of big dog.
Guy, the Trump administration didn't consider them to be cages either. They said they were like, did they say overflow facilities? I don't know what the fuck they called it. So what's up? Why did you still acknowledge that it was a cage when Trump? It was a cage when Trump was doing it, but it's literally not a fucking cage now that Joe Biden is doing it. Like, I don't get it. Because they gave you a different description. We were saying the cages were bad because they weren't being treated humanely. Wait, so the expectation is that the very same ICE and CBP officers are now treating them humanely, magically, because Joe Biden is president? Are you fucking stupid? Did you just make an argument that these are humane cages?
Pogu.
I feel like I genuinely don't understand. I feel like some of the people are actually they're turning into the meme. I don't get it. The Biden admin contracted out a new child camp to a company with a record of abusing children, feeding children undercooked and raw food, and stealing money from their families when they send them money. The BCFS Health and Human Services is the second largest contractor operating in Texas. The group operates 6 facilities that makes up migrant children. It was founded in 1944, according to his website. At a Harlington facility owned by BCFS, employees were alleged to have struck up inappropriate relationships with children in their care. Children complained of raw and undercooked food. One child in late 2016 suffered an allergic reaction after a staff member gave the child a snack. Another BCFS facility in San Antonio, a staff member last April helped arrange for a child's family member to send money for the child, but when the cash arrived, the staff member kept it.
Blue cages of freedom feels strong, man.
The year before, an employee gave children inappropriate magazine pages that depicted naked women, while a few months before, staff members were found to have failed to supervise their wards closely enough to prevent one child from inappropriately touching 2 others. Reached by phone as a receptionist for BCFS Health and Human Services said she had been told to direct reporters' questions and federal officials at the Administration for Children and Families. The government has trouble putting orphaned American citizens in foster care. What makes you think that they can do it here at the drop of a hat? I think that very weak article, my dude. Oh, one kid had a peanut allergy. Big news. Oh, one kid touched others. Shit happens with kids, not news, bro.
Hutch playing D for this article.
I forgot to ban that person. Can you please ban that person? I can't believe Republicans were right. Like, I actually... It's the same shitty thing, but with an upgrade. Under Trump, it were cages. Now there are cells. I can't believe that, like, yeah, I'm here to admit that, yes, conservative Trump supporters were actually correct when they said liberals literally don't give a fuck, and they're not going to care when it happens under Biden.
Seven months poggies.
Nobody's defending ICE. We just want to know where to put the kids. I've told you already, foster care immediately, or like to assign them over to the government that functions as foster care, not an overflow facility or not whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's still under, that's still operating in unison with ICE or to the Department of Homeland Security. And by the way,
the backbone of
the foster care system is also
of the state,
broken.
Creating humane housing,
so instead of offering contracts like this, bad take, Hasan. Yeah, fund the fucking foster care system. Saying that foster care doesn't work in this capacity is not an argument as to why we should, you know, put people in prison still, like put kids in prison and you know, functionally jail them. Hasan, 1 month. Do you have any idea how long it takes to get prior policy changed? 1 month? No, I'm aware of how long and arduous the process is of changing immigration policy. The difference is, if you're going to make a step, make sure it's a step in the right direction rather than the you know, rather than a lateral move. Okay?
Boy. Arjan impregnant and it's yours, please don't tell, will hassle.
And also, like, the other part of this conversation that we're not talking about is, like, these unaccompanied minors, like,
why would anyone
where are they coming from? Why are they unaccompanied?
Kids?
It's not like they're fucking, half these kids aren't fucking crossing the border alone, okay? They're coming with their parents, and they're being separated from their parents regardless. At some point, connecting them to their parents should be the first priority. And their parents should not be going to prison either, by the way. None of them should be going to jail or prison or an immigration detention facility or a fucking, you know, overflow facility or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's inhumane. Crossing a border should not mean that you are a criminal. Especially when you're literally innocent until fucking proven guilty. Unless you assume that immigrants actually don't get the same rights. They are lesser human beings than, you know, natural-born U.S. citizens and shit, and therefore should not be subject to the same rights that natural-born U.S. citizens are subjected to. That they don't have that same innocent until proven guilty offering. By you are guilty if you cross the border illegally. Please explain if I'm wrong. Okay. But not all border crossings are the fucking same. In my worldview, it should not be a problem at all. Okay? But even then, we have asylum laws. You can say, nah, they are. All you fucking want. You can go, la, 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 I don't care. They are all illegal. But that's not even fucking true. So you're completely wrong. And if you are a liberal right now and turn around and say, well, actually, all asylum seekers are actually illegally inside of U.S. borders, then you are a Trump supporter. You just have to admit that you love Donald Trump. You want to suck his fucking fat orange nuts because his actions have turned a normal legal process of asylum seeking into an illegal process. With his I keep forgetting the immigration policy that he pushed for the First Nations. Is that what it is? Like, or you have to stay in Mexico? Like you have to safe third country. Yeah, the safe third country immigration policy. You know anything about asylum, you would realize being held in a facility is a normal part of the process. I understand. I'm saying I wish it wasn't. And also, there is even under the Obama administration, you would be held in a facility, but at least you would be released to come back to your fucking court case. Okay? To your court date. The main difference here is that there is no releasing anymore, or there is no more. The catch and release policy was changed under the Trump administration. And they fucking lied about it too. That's different. You just said we should have open borders. I think we should have a European Union style open border policy, which doesn't mean you should be able to fucking cross no matter what, but you should still be able to, with ease, get paperwork and get to come into the United States. Absolutely.
Love you, Hasan.
With some restrictions. The argument against like undocumented immigration constantly revolves around, well, it's illegal, lol, why don't they come legally? Well, maybe if the process of legal immigration was as unrestricted as it once was, and the boundaries weren't so ridiculous, where you had to wait fucking 40 years to come into the United States legally, then, it would make a little bit more sense. I love most of your takes, but you're a bit off on this, man. I have first-hand experience. I used to work in one of these shelters. I don't understand. Just instead of fucking crying and saying wrong, you're wrong, just explain what you mean. And I assume your argument is still going to revolve around like, no, these facilities are going to have some molestation. Anytime people are working with children, there's going to be molestation or some shit. Is that what your argument is going to be? The memo is a disappointing step backwards from the Biden administration's earlier commitments to fully break from the harmful deportation policies of both the Trump and Obama presidencies. While the Biden administration rightly acknowledges that immigrants are our family members, our coworkers, and our neighbors, for now it has chosen to continue giving ICE officers significant discretion to conduct operations that harm our communities and tear families apart. The interim enforcement priorities detailed today import the injustices of the criminal legal system and will lead to continued disproportionate deportations of black and brown immigrants. The priorities are use sweeping and overbroad presumptions of threat that have for decades resulted in biased profiling and harmful immigration consequences for black, brown people, including Muslims. The priorities presume that all recent border crossers are threats, in total contravention of President Biden's commitment to ensuring that people seeking asylum are treated with dignity. We expect better from the Biden administration and believe that the next 90 days will continue to reaffirm the need to force ICE to downscale its operations, including by ending ICE programs that tap state and local law enforcement for immigration enforcement, such as the 287G program and use of ICE detainers. ICE should be completely disbanded. ICE should be completely abolished. I would go so far as to say the Department of Homeland Security should be completely abolished. 100%. It is a very new organization. As far as defending our borders from drug traffickers, human traffickers, what do you think? The fucking FBI wasn't doing shit? Like, you think all the other agencies that we have were not already handling that? Take the small fraction of the ICE agents that specifically work on child slavery and specifically work on operations like that, and move it back under the fucking FBI or the CIA or wherever the fuck they were originally, considering the fact that ICE and the Department of Homeland Security is again, agency that is younger than me and a bunch of people in this audience, or at least like maybe a little bit older than some of the members in my audience. Okay? Hasantopia, where shitty humans unable to control their own shittiness no longer exist. The human race has been solved. I've never said that. I am not a full-blown police or prison abolitionist in the sense that I think that it is an admirable goal to move towards. But I've literally never said that like crime is not going to exist. I've literally never said that like we are not going to need any sort of like regulation or any sort of force, whether it's called police or something else. It doesn't fucking matter. That still maintains a presence of law and order. I've never fucking said that. I'm simply stating that an agency that was created in 2002 after the fucking intense like anti-Muslim rhetoric that came after 9/11 that has caused a tremendous amount of hate, a tremendous amount of pain on so many black and brown families, so many families in general, in a nation that was built on immigration, is disgusting, inhumane, and it's only getting worse and worse. Okay? That sounds awfully statist of you. I am not an anarchist.
Yo.
People defending this child cages bull should try to spend a day in a big Mexican city, see if they like to stay there. The DHS absorbed the INS on March 1st, 2003. DHS absorbed U.S. Customs Service and Immigration and Naturalization Service (INS) and assumed its duties. Oh, you're answering your own question. Well, that's great. Be like this, chatter. Okay, when you have a dumb question, go and Google it yourself, and then maybe you can inform other people as well.
Yeah.
I feel like people forget that non-anarchist leftists exist, but if ICE doesn't exist anymore, how will employers be able to keep a group of workers they can exploit in fear of suddenly having their lives uprooted? INS used to do that. And that shouldn't happen either, by the way. But that chatter is correct. That's precisely how ICE operates. ICE is just INS on steroids. That like the immigration removal part, the deportation system is insane. Like the fact that we have this, the fact that they can do dragnets and literally just take away the like ruin the lives of an entire block's worth of undocumented immigrants who are otherwise law abiding and just working day in, day out to make a honest living. And I don't know, feed their fucking children is so disgusting, so cruel, so inhumane, and quintessentially American. Like, ERO is disgusting. This is in my echo chamber. I'm out, Sag. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, a better world is possible, even if it seems impossible to you right now. Try to consider why it seems impossible to you. Like, think about that. Like, we're talking about fucking kids. We're talking about kids. Little fucking kids that are being locked in cages. Okay? And you are comfortable with, you are telling me that you are more comfortable with kids being put in a detention facility rather than like given appropriate housing and appropriate funding for the systems that would deal with them. People saying like clipped and shipped and shit like that. Do you want to get banned? Like, all of you. And there's like at least 1,000 of you who dropped that in here. Do you just want to get banned completely? Is that what you want? Like, we're trying to have a serious conversation, and your immediate reaction is to just go there?